Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the profitability and potential currency you can or cannot earn in the brand new league mechanic. Now in order to give you guys a bit of an idea of how much money you can make from this thing, I decided to run some myself, of course, time it, and record the results. But first, I want to give you guys a bit of background on where I am in terms of progression of my character, but also the mechanic itself. So first and foremost, the mechanic. So I am currently ranking 456. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but that's what I currently am. And that's generally a pretty high ranking. Some people are up around 550, and I've seen people go as high as 700, but the general consensus after talking to a lot of these players is that the difficulty continues to scale as your ranking goes higher, but there doesn't seem to be any indication that the rewards continue to scale after an initial point of getting to say around 300. Now there could be some smaller increases in the rewards, maybe the rarity of the rewards kind of gets better and better the higher ranking you go, but unfortunately I haven't noticed anything to that degree just yet. So the rewards that you get, specifically the currency stack size, as well as the different tattoos that you have access to, seem to stay pretty much the same. But of course that difficulty definitely does seem to go up, at least from what I can tell myself. So overall, the thing is pretty damn hard to beat. And overall, you are going to face a little bit of resistance when you get to the higher rankings. And right now, at least with the current implementation in the initial 1.0 patch, it's not really very easy to lower your ranking, meaning you can end up in a place where things are really hard and you're not really having much luck. Now, to give you guys a bit of an idea of what my character is kind of capable of and what I was farming before, so you guys have a bit of context of what I'm about to show you, my character is pretty much a almost fully geared Omniscience Tornado Shot character with most of the bells and whistles. I've got double implicit Eldritch gear for the most part. I've got the Tornado Shot helmet enchant, a pretty damn good ring. I got the Omniscience, I've got corrupted stuff, I've got a pretty damn insane bow and quiver, and I've even got stuff like the Lethal Pride going, I got the Massive Threat of Hope, we've got the Inspired Lightning with the Double Cluster, all sorts of stuff like that. We're pretty much fully geared. The only thing I'm really missing is a better helmet, maybe a better belt, like maybe a Mage Blood or something like that, a Watcher's Eye, and the double Forbidden Flesh Flame. That's pretty much all I'm missing, right? So we're pretty damn geared. So you'd expect that I'd be able to make quite a lot of currency from the mechanic if there was any currency to be had. So let me quickly give you guys a bit of an idea of what I got from my runs and also how many I did, and then I'll talk about maybe what the future holds for the mechanic in terms of profitability. Okay, so this is 2 hours and 32 minutes and 31 seconds of farming the lead mechanic, trying really hard to make as much currency per hour as possible. This is what I got. So overall, my strategy was to try and make it, doable and fast to get through as many rounds as possible, but also pick up all of the most valuable rewards I could. Now, most of the currency you would assume from this mechanic is going to be in the form of tattoos. And I did get quite a lot of tattoos. And I did also get some bubblegum currency you guys can see up here. Now, I did a total of 10 full matches, and that was roughly 69 silver coins. So 10 matches took me 69 rounds to complete. And that's 2.5 hours. So if you want to time that, what is that? I don't even know. So 2.5 hours, so 2.5 times 60 divided by 69. So it took me roughly 2.17 minutes per round on average. So that's pretty damn quick, at least in my opinion, when you factor in buying units and, messing around with the vendors and picking the reward and all sorts of stuff like that. So I was trying pretty damn hard to make this work here. And if you guys are curious, you can actually see the actual round rewards that I got here. I got 1 of the unique belt, which I picked up here, and then I have 9 honored tattoos over here, which gives you a total of 10 match wins. So the question is, how much is all of this stuff worth? And of course, was it worth my time to do those 69 rounds and those 10 matches? Well, overall, I don't know if I got lucky, I don't know if I got unlucky, but I'm just going to share with you guys the exact results that I got here. So I got 134C of bubblegum / garbage. I'm going to be honest with you guys, most of this stuff I really wouldn't sell, but I decided to give it the benefit of the doubt and, okay, we'll include the animate weapon level 21, which is 4C. Overall though, most of this stuff is pretty much garbanzo, and, it's just a pure currency you would sell. So while I did get 134C, you could probably round that down to like 90C for the most part that I actually really got in reality. Didn't get any divines, but did get an annul and an exalt, so maybe I got a little bit unlucky there. I actually haven't seen a divine from the entire mechanic the entire time, and overall I haven't heard of any reports of getting divines in stack sizes higher than 1, so it's not really going to be a sanctum scenario where we can get big stacks of divines, at least from what I understand so far. Alright, so that's the bubblegum currency, 134C there if we're generous. And we can add that to the calculator over here, so 134. Now, how much are all these tattoos going to be worth here? Just go on D&D. Well, there is quite a few of them. There is a lot of tattoos. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get any of the insanely good ones. And I'll talk about what the good ones are in a second here. So I got 2 rare tattoos. I got 2 of the loyalty tattoos here. So I got loyalty tattoo of Juana, I think that's how you say that, and loyalty tattoo of Rakiata. Now, these are worth a little bit of currency, but they're not worth a whole lot. I did also have the 9 honored tattoos here, which I got from completing the matches as well. However, these also aren't worth a whole lot. Seeing a bit of a pattern here. So in total, I made 147C from tattoos. And that's all of them. Now, the way I price these is I came to PoE Ninja, and, you know, I just looked up the name of them, right? So just, you know, looked them up here, and, you know, maybe it's possible they're worth a little bit more than what they're listed on PoE Ninja, but, you know, I don't really think they're going to be worth a whole lot more than that, at least at this stage here. So I think it's a reasonable representation of at least a ballpark figure of how much some of these are worth. And yeah, so the total figure came out to be 147C worth of tattoos, which, you know, that's definitely not a staggeringly high amount here. So if we add that onto our bubblegum stack earlier, we get a total of 281C. I believe divines are roughly 145 right now. So that is a total of, you know, 1.93 divines. So if you divide that by the time which I spent, 2.5 hours, it's roughly, you know, 3/4 of a divine, if you will, that I made there. Now, I do believe, as I said, I got pretty unlucky. I didn't really get any good tattoos. You know, I think there could be stuff you could do better. And overall, I'm going to go over that now. So for the most part, you know, I didn't get any big hits, none at all. I didn't get any good omens, didn't get any good uniques, I didn't get any good tattoos, and I didn't get any divines, and really much of anything. I think I got basically the worst possible luck you could get running this mechanic. Now, if we do want to talk about, you know, kind of some of the big hits and the medium hits here, the ones which I found to be the best to get is kind of the more common tattoos, which are worth, you know, like 5 to 10C. A very good example of this is the tattoo of the Ramako Sniper. This is a tattoo which is worth around about 10C. If you list it, I have sold them for 10C. You know, if you have multiple of them, people will also buy all of them at once. So this one is a pretty nice one as well, the Ramako Sniper. So overall, that's going to be a pretty good one. Now, there is also a few others which are surprisingly worth a little bit here and there. The Lightning Res one, I believe, yes, that's 5C, which is incredibly common, so that is definitely not a bad one there. So overall, there is a few here or there that you can pick up which are worth a good bit of currency. But the ones which you really want to get, the ones which are really, really strong, and overall the ones you want to really get a lot of money from, I didn't get any of those. And if we take a look at what those are here, you can see that it's mostly the rare honored tattoos that you're looking to get, and I got literally none of them. All of the ones I got here are all 10C or lower, or 15C. I did get one of these. So all the big hitters, all the juicy ones, none of them. And you can see this one here, 16C, you know, that's kind of crazy, right? You know, like five divines for that one. Like, I don't even know if these are in the game. They must be that rare. I was under the impression they weren't, but yeah, that is pretty ridiculous how much some of these go for. You know, Fortify, even 3 div there. And a lot of them, I think, are even more than that if you actually did have them, and it was at a point where there wasn't a whole lot of supply of them. And I'll get to that little point there in a second here. But there is also a ton of other tattoos which you can get, and they are the Makanga tattoos. And I got none of these. So the Makanga tattoos are essentially incredibly rare variants of the tribal tattoos, which can pop up in the rounds that you are fighting. So I got none of these, none at all. And I have actually not gotten any of these over the entirety of playing the entire mechanic, almost up to 500 rating. They are that rare. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I don't think so. I've always been looking at every single tattoo, so they must be incredibly, incredibly rare. And you can see here the Skills Fire additional projectile one here is the main moneymaker here, but some of them are also worth a pretty good amount as well if you can get your hands on them and they are available to you. So overall, definitely a lot of good money to be made there. But for the most part, that is where it stops. You want the incredibly rare honor tattoos and the incredibly rare Makanga tattoos. And you can see pretty much everything else is worth nothing really much at all. With the next most expensive tattoo, which is not Makanga or Honored, being, let's see if we can find one, probably, yeah, the tattoo of the Warmonger here, which is going to be the Explode tattoo here. And we didn't get any of those. And then there is the Sniper one here, which we had before. And, you know, oh, actually fast duration as well makes sense. And Warcry cooldown recovery rate. So overall, that is kind of what we're looking at for the tattoos there. If I had to give you guys a bit of a guess, I either got really unlucky or the tattoos, which are actually worth anything at all, are so rare that you can't really reliably get them. You know, 2.5 hours of farming at high efficiency is definitely, in my opinion, something that should yield at least 1 or 2 of those tattoos, maybe, but we'll have to see with our larger sample size. Now, of course, let's get a little bit into the nitty-gritty here on how I was running this thing. I do think I still have a long way to go, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit more insight on how you guys can influence and maximize the amount of potential currency that you can make. So first and foremost, this is a clean board here. Overall, you do want to pick up the favor if you're having trouble and you want a head start on the enemies. Pick the enemies which have a lot of favor. That will give you a bit of help. But if we're talking pure currency here and trying to maximize rewards with a really strong build here, you do want to go ahead and scout all the tattoos as is usual. But then there is another step here which I always take, and that is to ensure that you're always keeping certain members alive. And that main member you want to keep alive is in fact going to be the +1 projectile character here. Where is she? She is the Ramako tribe here. So if you are trying to go for the massive Makanga tattoo, the really super rare one, you want to have a chance at it, you never want to fight the Ramako tribe because she is the one which has a chance to spawn that incredibly rare tattoo. And you can go through the other tribal tattoos, and if there's any other incredibly strong Makanga or other common ones, you can go ahead and try and hold off on fighting those tribes as well. Fortunately, the Ramako tribe is also one of the ones which spawns the projectile speed tattoo, which as we mentioned earlier is worth 10C and is also worth, you know, probably pursuing as well, and it will pop up every now and then. So overall, that is kind of the approach there. That other step which I have been taking is ensuring I try and not knock out any participants in the round here. Now, I can't show you because this is round 1 here, but when someone has lost one match, they have a little icon next to their name. And if you fight and kill them or they lose another battle, they will be knocked out of the tournament. Now, the reason you don't want to actively knock participants out of the tournament is because then you'll get fewer rewards to choose from in your following matches. If you start knocking everyone out, well, then you are going to end up with a lot less rewards. Now, it's not going to make the world of difference if you do kind of go with a little bit more of the conservative approach and battle people who haven't lost yet, but it will give you 1, 2, maybe 3 more looks at some rewards, and that could, you know, be the difference of getting a good tattoo, a Makanga tattoo, or any sort of other valuable reward. So I generally try and do that as well. But those are really the only 2 things which I have found to be able to allow you to influence the rewards past the, you know, overall picking the right one. So it is definitely a little bit restrictive in that front here, but keeping the people who have the valuable tattoos alive and then going ahead and trying to maximize the amount of enemies that you have to choose from at one time are the 2 major points here. So to close out the video, I want to talk a little bit more about how I see this mechanic developing in its current state here. So overall, it's pretty clear, at least from my perspective, that there's not a whole lot of liquid currency rewards to be had, at least with our current understanding here. There's just not a whole lot of raw value compared to something like Sanctum, you know, or Legion, or pretty much any other traditional farming mechanic. Even doing Eldritch Altars, Alch & Go with no other mechanics is going to yield you more raw currency and saleable goods than the mechanic is, and it's a lot easier to do that as well. So pretty much all the value from this mechanic, unless they buff it or alter it in some way, is going to have to come from the tattoos. And right now, as we've seen, tattoos are phenomenally cheap across the board for the most part. They are very, very, very inexpensive. So the only thing which I can imagine, assuming players do want these tattoos and want to use many of these tattoos on their builds, we're going to have to see a pretty large movement on the price of these tattoos. So I think the supply of tattoos is going to dry up pretty quick as people realize that the mechanic is probably not the most worth running in its current state, but the demand I can only see increasing as people get to the point in which they are looking to min-max their build and they are looking to kind of get a little bit more juice and experiment a little bit more, and they have the currency to do so. Demand will, in my opinion, go up for these tattoos. So I think that we've got a pretty interesting kind of scenario here. We've got the supply potentially going down as people realize the mechanic isn't quite so profitable right now, and the demand for the tattoos, which come from the mechanic, going up. So I think we're going to probably see a massive increase in price in all the tattoos, and you can already see that's starting to happen to some extent here, 900% up on some of these, and I don't think that we've seen anything yet. If anyone is intending to do the mechanic and have it be profitable, these tattoos are going to have to go up a whole lot more here, and if people are willing to pay that, I can see there being a world in which things are looking a little bit better. But even the big hits right now could put you in the green as a profitable mechanic, but at least right now with my experience and my understanding of how to run the mechanic, it's not the most profitable thing to run at the moment. I'll continue to experiment, I'll continue to upgrade my character, and maybe we can find a way to do it. I will share with you guys all my findings on how to actually run the mechanic, maximize it, beat it really easy in those 2 minutes on average that I got in an upcoming video. But until then, hopefully you guys have enjoyed and learned something new here, and until next time, cheers.